Good day, everyone. Thank you for joining our webinar today. My name is Johanna, and I'm from the UN Innovation Network. Thrilled to host the second meeting of the UN Blockchain Group. Thanks for joining us for that. As you may know, today we're here to dive deeper into the Atrium, this beautiful platform that we built to enable more learning and knowledge sharing and collaboration around the topic of blockchain for colleagues from all across the UN. But before we dive into the Atrium, I wanted to take just a brief moment to say how thrilled we are that so many colleagues from really across the UN have joined this new blockchain group. On the next slide, you can see that there's about 200 colleagues from 45 countries that have joined so far to connect, collaborate, and learn together. So really a very exciting time for us, and thanks to all of you for joining and being part of that. And thank you also for completing the quick joining survey that we have on our website. I wanted to share a few data from the survey back with you. And here you can see that most of you expressed that you were interested in learning more about blockchain applications. So 156 out of the 200 colleagues that joined the group said that was something that they would like to do. Advancing the technical understanding, connecting with other blockchain innovators, and learning how to set up projects. So lots of interest and lots of opportunities areas for us to connect and explore and learn together. Super exciting from our side. And we've already launched one resource that can help with a lot of that. And for those of you who joined the webinar last week, you will know that that's the practical guide to blockchain. The guide includes, a primer on blockchain, key features, definition, includes really useful decision-making tools. If you would like to access it, you can find it on our website. And there's also a recording of the webinar we hosted last week to introduce you to the guide. So a really great resource. And this paper, like the Atrium, was developed entirely in-house, so with expertise that already exists within the UN system, developed by the UN for the UN, something I'm even more excited about. Right, today we are going to talk about the Atrium, which is the second part of the blockchain resources that we're putting out there for the UN community. We introduced it last week, and I briefly wanted to see how many of you have already explored the Atrium to give our presenters a little bit of a chance to see what level of understanding there is already. Launched a poll. Let's give it a couple of seconds, and then I'll play back to you. Okay, 5 more seconds. Make your choice. So it seems that I'm going to share it back with you. So challenge to our presenters, 60% haven't signed up yet, so this will be a good opportunity to convince you to do so, but really good to see that a lot of you have already signed up as well. So thank you for that, and we hope you found it useful. We look forward to your feedback. We try to make our webinars as interactive as possible, so after a quick introduction to Atrium and a demo thereof, we'd actually like to open up for question and discussion with you. To do that, we use the Q&A platform, the Q&A tool on the Zoom platform. You can find it at the bottom of your screen. You also have the option to vote on other people's questions if you're also interested in them. So we encourage you to do that. And depending on how much time we have, we will try to open up for Q&A in the sense that we give you the floor and you can ask your question yourself. Right, and now it is my pleasure to introduce you to our presenters for the day. We're joined by Ariana Fowler and Gustav Schrumfeld. Gustav works for the World Food Programme, where he's an innovation project manager for digital identity and cash, and that is at the WFP's Innovation Accelerator based in Munich. And some of you may remember Ariana from our webinar last week, where she gave us a sneak peek of Atrium. Ariana is a blockchain strategist at UNICEF Innovation. I also see a lot of other colleagues on this webinar who were part of the team developing the Atrium. So I'd just like to give a quick shout out to, I see Miran Haidari is on there. I believe I saw Christina Lomatz's name pop up. Kyriakos from WFP, Alex Sherbrooke. So this has really been a team effort. And Ariana and Gustav, in a sense, they have the pleasure of flying the flag for the entire team today as they introduce us to the Atrium. Gustav, I believe I'm handing over to you. Thanks for joining us and looking forward to your presentation.
Thank you very much. All right, so thank you all for joining us. We're really, really excited to be presenting this to you today after about a year's work. This all started off with the UN Innovation Network about a year ago today. So it's very exciting to be talking you through this. So today we'll be introducing you to the Atrium. The Atrium was built with collaboration in mind, with the aim of sharing more resources for both learning and sharing of ideas between blockchain practitioners and those interested in blockchain across the United Nations. It is part of a variety, a set of tools that have been put together by Johanna and the UNIN team, including the practical guide and the blockchain group. If you want to check out the blockchain page, you can go to uninnovation.network/blockchain to learn some more. Now, what is the Atrium? The Atrium includes, well, fundamentally, it's a brand new website that we've created between UNDP, WSP, and UNICEF. It started off about a year ago when we were developing these ideas, and we've included resources to start exploring the technology and start building blockchain-based ideas, as well as different project details that we've included into the system, so you can learn more about the different projects that are taking place within the UN system as a whole. And then finally, we have community forums where we can ask questions, discuss, and actually share the knowledge that exists already within the system, and then start proliferating that outwards to start driving more change with blockchain. In terms of background, the idea was born around March 2019 after a visit that myself and an ex-colleague did to New York. We then took this and brought it to the UNIN Interagency Bootcamp, which took place in spring 2019. From then on, we've been building. We had one almost launch in November where we noticed a few challenges, and then now we're launching the first version to all UN staff members to start really iterating upon that and refining the platform. Now I'm going to pass over to Ariana, who's going to go over some more details on the Atrium, and then she'll pass back to me and we'll do the demo.
Thanks, Gustav. Hi again, everyone. If you were on the call last week, it's great to see you virtually back here, even though I can't see your faces. Thanks again for joining, and thanks to those of you who didn't join last week but are excited to learn more about the Atrium. So the Atrium not only is a blockchain, as a tool to explore and learn about blockchain, but it actually is built upon a blockchain, which is really exciting. So in terms of like why blockchain, why did we endeavor to create a blockchain based tool, and everything is about blockchain, we hear about blockchain so much? It's really because as a team, and as Gustav mentioned when he visited New York, you know, we were sitting around talking about how we were hearing about all these different UN blockchain projects, but we weren't sure what other people were working on. We wanted to figure out how we could better share what we had been doing. Each of our teams have been exploring blockchain, and we wanted to be able to better share that and better communicate with colleagues in not necessarily a formal manner, but you know, at the time it really was an informal thing of you hearing that someone was working on it, you emailed them or WhatsApped them, or you saw them at a meeting perhaps. But we knew that there was a lot of exploration going on. We had seen papers being published or different blockchain media publishing articles about what UN agency was exploring blockchain, and we thought, you know, let's not recreate the wheel, and what if we could come together in a very innovative spirit and spirit of collaboration, and actually have this platform where we could all sit within and learn from one another. And in terms of it being decentralized by design, so as I mentioned, it is a blockchain tool built on a blockchain. So it's actually built on a private Ethereum network. So if you have read the practical guide, you will know the difference between private and public blockchains. And the reason we actually decided to build this upon a private network is so that it was, you may have seen some language around like a sandbox, or like a safe UN only sandbox. And so by creating a private network, that means that to be able to actually run the blockchain, you have to be permissioned. So right now it isn't open to anyone around the world to be able to come in and change the governance structure, just access the records and things like that. So we thought that it would make our UN colleagues feel more comfortable if it was a private network. And so that is kind of the underlying technology there. And we, at the moment, have 2 agencies running nodes, and we are onboarding a 3rd and perhaps a fourth, which is really exciting. So what that means, what is onboarding and running a node, that means that different entities are all maintaining the same record of what is happening on the blockchain. And so within the Atrium, the actions that are happening on the blockchain are blockchain-based badges. So if you can see in this little screenshot, I'm on my phone right now. My computer decided to die this weekend, which was so fun. But on the screen, you'll see each of the different blockchain-based badges that you can earn while using the Atrium. And so if you are familiar with blockchain-based credentials, basically it's a way to verify participation or action within a blockchain platform. So there's 3 different levels that will get triggered when you complete certain tasks, and then what actually happens on the back end. And a lot of people ask, like, what does a blockchain look like, and how do I know if I'm interacting with a blockchain? Well, this website, this platform is a great example of, you don't necessarily know that you're using a blockchain until maybe read more on the about page, but really a blockchain application should be a seamless user experience. So when you register, when you post on the projects page, so if you upload a project that your agency is working on, and then if you also post a forum post, you are actually earning a badge. So what happens on the back end is you complete that task, and then our system reads that you completed the task, and then a record of that is put onto the blockchain associated with your account. So there's no personal information being stored, but what is being stored is a record of you completed Y, Z, Q task, which is pretty exciting. So you may not know it, even if you have logged in, but you are interacting with a blockchain, which is super cool. And this kind of backs up our theory of learning by doing. So with the Atrium, and in our early days, especially at the Union Bootcamp, we wanted to run right out of the gate with a decentralized development environment, and you could start deploying smart contracts and have all the blockchain engineers going crazy. But then what we realized actually is there's a few steps before we get to that point in terms of building capacity within the UN. So for example, how do we build up technical knowledge within our teams before just throwing a super developer-focused technical tool at you to start building your own blockchain applications? But the badges are a really simple way to begin interacting with the blockchain. And then our next version, which we are already planning for a next version, it will be more developer-focused, so that those that are itching to crack open some of the open source code on GitHub that's already on there, and then to actually be able to deploy onto the blockchain, the private blockchain network that we're running, that will be made possible to you. So I will quickly run through each of the sections within the Atrium, but then Gustav will do a live demo so you can get more information, but I wanted to give kind of a high level overview of the 3 different sections. So the first one is Learn. So after you register and you log in, you may be redirected to the Learn page. And so here is a list of resources and the new practical guide that we launched last week, as well as case studies. And the resources are separated by categories. So you'll see different resources for blockchain in general, for cryptocurrency in general, for Ethereum versus Bitcoin, wallets, what is a crypto wallet? What is a blockchain wallet? So what we did, and we got this feedback from some of our colleagues when we were doing some of the user testing, and when we had to, I spoke about this last week, but we had to scope down the build itself so it wasn't super technical in version 1. And so some of the feedback we got actually was people just want to learn about blockchain but get overwhelmed about what blockchain is. And so what we wanted to do was curate some of the resources that we found helpful in our blockchain journeys and put that on this page to make it easy for you, so you don't have to just go and type in blockchain into Google and have a million resources. So that is the Learn section. And then the next section that we have is the projects page. And so this, for a lot of people, is maybe the most exciting part of the Atrium, but this is where you can actually go in, and if you are working on a blockchain project actively, you can upload that so you can share what you're working on. And if you don't have a project yet, but if you're curious about what other entities you're working on, or you really want to start a blockchain project but you don't know what use case is a good fit for your agency, you can actually scroll through. I think we have 10 or 11 projects actually, last time I checked, which was super exciting to see all the different agencies that have uploaded since our launch last week. But you can go in and each agency can upload on their own. And so we've encouraged the participants, when they upload, to include a description of their project, to include any documentation such as a PDF one-pager, or maybe a presentation that they gave. And then what's exciting is that we have actually created a way for you to share your code. So at UNICEF Innovation, for example, we are big advocates of open source in line with the principles of digital development. And so we like to open source all of our code. And so you'll see for a couple of the projects that we've uploaded, we actually have included links to GitHub, which is really exciting for the developers on the call or on your teams who want to see actually what's under the hood of projects. And so we encourage people, when you upload your projects, to actually also upload your code if it is open source. And at this point, as I mentioned, the platform is UN only. And so I know that was a concern that we heard from some colleagues of, well, what if my code gets out, et cetera. But right now, the only people who can access the platform and click on the link to see your code is within a UN entity, which is exciting. And then the final section of the platform is the forums page. And so, full transparency, and I spoke about this last week, products change and iterate over time. And so one of the things that we learned on our Atrium journey was that creating a way for communities to engage was a gap that we had missed at the beginning in our design process. And so when we had a sort of pivot moment mid-build time, we actually changed to include this forum. So that we could, as I mentioned, there were a lot of informal conversations, and perhaps you had to know the point of contact and their contact information, but we wanted to actually make it a bit more seamless. So anyone who is an Atrium member can go onto the forum. It's a place for you to ask questions, to start conversations, to share your ideas. And there actually are already too, I checked this morning, some great posts, people asking, how do you design a blockchain application from a UX perspective? Or someone shared, someone from UN Volunteers actually shared a blockchain idea that he had. And so, if you're looking to collaborate on that, really easy way to go in and, say, I'd love to chat more. And then you guys can take the conversation, off the Atrium into a Zoom call or to an email thread. And this also is a way for you to provide us feedback as a team that's building the Atrium, to say, what other features do you want to see? What are some of your favorite parts of the Atrium? So it really is a place for us to have an open dialogue in a way that we haven't seen in the blockchain community before. And I will underscore that all of this is meant to empower and activate the blockchain working group, or the blockchain group that Johanna mentioned at the beginning, that it's exciting to see that there's over 200 people that are interested. And so really the Atrium is meant to be a tool for not only the blockchain community, anyone in the UN system, but really the blockchain group to go in and, have some of the dialogues around some maybe the topics that will be had on future calls, or, to share projects that maybe will be presented on future calls. So we really see this as kind of going hand in hand with the group. And then I think from there, we'll flip back to Gustav, who will actually give you a bit of a walkthrough of the platform.
Thank you very much, Ariana. All right, so next step, I'm going to give you a quick demo of the platform. Here is the Atrium. So I'm already logged in, just to get through that bit. So this is the Atrium. It's the first thing you'll see, which is the front page. As you sign in, you'll see a sign in button up here on the top right corner, which will take you through to signing in, or you'll join. There'll be a call to action on the front page if you haven't used the Atrium before. The first step is our learning resources. Now, all of the learning resources that we have on the Atrium are publicly available. However, we've done the hard work of curating these into a list that is kind of introductory and easy to walk through and learn a little bit about, what exactly blockchain is, how it might add value to your agency, or if you've already been introduced into blockchain, maybe get you one step deeper into into how blockchain might be used within your specific use case. So firstly, we have our practical guide, the UNIN practical guide, which was published the week before last. And then we have a number of different resources, which you'll see here, including general information on cryptocurrencies, wallets, the different cryptocurrencies under that, use cases, for example, and supplementary resources. If you have any questions, feel free to email us, and we can walk you through some more things. But this is the first step in terms of getting a grip of what blockchain is and how it can be used. Second, we have our projects page. Now, the projects page is really where I think the value is shared between the different agencies. Our initial idea was, well, we're seeing a lot of various use cases. We're seeing a lot of replication. How can we get people to share that knowledge, improve our ability to replicate, or improve our ability to bring on new partners onto our various decentralized projects. These include something that Shashank released yesterday, who works at UNICC. We have a variety of different projects from UN Women, UNICEF, and such a variety of different. I think, yeah, as Ariana said, I think 11 projects right now. Sign up, have a look through these, and inside the projects you can also comment specifically related to that project, or even get in touch with the project owner. Now, next we have our forum. In the forum, we have a variety of different questions, from user experience through to how to make decisions on blockchains, to support you in that process, but also to create a little bit of conversation around different topics. This is really aimed to be an interactive environment where we can start sharing and talking about how this system can be used and applied in practice. You can create posts up here, so making a simple form of creating a post, and then you can obviously click through and interact with them themselves. Up at the top, you have your profile. Your profile, you'll see a number of different badges. I haven't yet, for shame, I've not yet put up my picture, but I will do so soon. These badges are provided to you once you have completed some simple tasks. This is really a prototype or example of how we're providing badges that in the future might be issued in a variety of different ways. But what I mean by that is you might be able to put them on your LinkedIn profile, for example, as these kind of increase in value. And it's an easy way for us to identify, you know, how exactly are these people, or are these other contributors contributing to the Atrium more generally. So, you know, the Atrium is very much in its first version. We're really looking to get your contributions, get your involvement in the platform, so that we can continue expanding this and creating a useful platform for us to share blockchain-based innovation between the different agencies in the United Nations. So to finish this off, I think we're going to pass back over to Johanna, who's going to be asking us questions. But before that, if you want to get involved, go to atrium.uninnovation.network, share your projects, engage with the forums, and if you are interested, we would be happy for you to run a node on the Atrium as well. And so, yeah, we're really excited to be launching this this week, or even last week. We're very excited for you to be involved, and thank you very much for spending the time today.